Today's game is about the Russian female Go champion, Dina Burdakova, challenging the Taiwanese female player, Jiajia. Let's first introduce Dina. Dina is amateur 5'10". She is one of the strongest female players in Europe, and she has won the European Women's Go Championship in 2014 and the online one in 2021. Very strong player. Now, let's introduce Hey Jiajia. Well, she needs no introduction. Let's look at a video instead.
Hello， 大家好，我是黑佳佳。如果你是第一次来到这里的同学，不要忘记按下订阅，和我们一起成为围棋人哦。
这里的山路十八弯，这里的水路9年换，这里的三国排队排，这里的相国船对船。
This game is played in 2022 during the first Go Seigen Cup. This is the first round. Does the Russian female champion have a chance against one of the best female players in Taiwan? Let's jump right into it. Alright, Dina is playing as black and Jiajia is playing as white in this game. Start out with both double star points. Black approaches, white defends, and black plays the 2-space high extension. White approaches, black kicks and plays out the most common Joseki. And at this point, black decides to approach the top left corner. White counter approaches. Black pincers. Alternatively, black can also think about just playing the Kema. There's nothing wrong with it, but maybe Dina was worried about Jiajia extending back like this, not only helping out the stone, but also pincering her stone. But there's no problem playing like this as black either. Black can go into the corner and then just take the territory like this. White likely needs to add another move, and now black can start initiative over here. White attaches, black honey and connects, right? Taking the territory, building on the bottom side, and black has two quite solid corner to fight against white. In the actual game, black pincers, that leads to Jiajia counter pincer, and black attaches on top, choosing the most simple Joseki. White goes into the corner and black plays the tiger's mouth. Here, another variation is for black to simply block. White crawls back and black connects. White extends, and here, black can either play out the invasion over here or the invasion over here. Let's say black plays the invasion like this. And now black has a very nice move. Not only connect the two stones over here, but also threaten the corner. So white likely needs to respond, and here black can just play another move to fix the cutting point over here, or black can attach into white's territory. Both are good variations. In the actual game, Dina played very simple. That is to simply play the tiger's mouth. White crawls the stone back, and now as we can see, white gained quite a lot of territory. Black double approaches, white attaches on top, and they play out the most common Joseki. Here, Dina did not choose the most common variation. The most common variation is for black to play the Kosumi. White plays the Kosumi and black honeys. White squeeze on top, that's the book move. Here, white cannot really block because then black will Atari and then play out a Kema or something similar to that and aim at this weakness. So black will not directly push and cut, but the fact that black is not doing it makes white really uncomfortable. If white spends another move just to connect, this move doesn't generate any points. So this is mostly the reason why white does not play the tiger's mouth on the second line. Black honeys, white squeeze on top, that's the correct move, and black connects. And here AI's move today is to play the jump. Back in the days, it's probably white playing here, but today the new theory is white jumps on top. Now we're looking at pincering over here and also peeping black over here. So it's a Miai. That's not what Dina played. Dina decided to play the 2-space extension. White kicks and Dina plays the Hane on the second line. A more accurate move for black here is to simply extend on top. Against this, white needs to connect, and now black can just take these stones very lightly and play another 2-space extension. So as we can see, black has a very solid base here. If white cut, we can simply Atari So at this point, we can pretty much Tanuki and start attacking the corner over here, right? So we're trying to take things lightly over here, right? Even if white managed to get a lot of compensation, white is fairly over concentrated, so we're not too worried about it. But when you look at the outside, now black is building the initiative on the bottom left corner. So that's a more accurate continuation for Dina. In the actual game, Dina plays on the second line, hoping white would block here, but of course, Jiajia is a professional player, therefore she doesn't make a mistake here. She plays the tiger's mouth on top, the correct move, and black connect. I really like Dina's connection here. That's the best move. A lot of players would just extend, but that's not good because when white hanes, it also makes this stone weak, right? If our stone was just connected, then we don't have to worry about this weak stone. That's exactly why this move is better than simply extending back. So Jiajia decides to protect the corner anyway. That's a very solid move. Alternatively, Jiajia could have played a little bit more aggressive, but I think Jiajia in this game understands that she's the better player, and therefore she plays rock solid by protecting the corner. It's not a bad move either. Black hanes, and now white jumps on the second line. So the hane is a shape move, but I think black here should have just clamped into the corner and test white, asking white a question. How do you want to deal with the stone here? If white extend, then we can bump and then connect through and take the base away from white. That would be a very good variation for black. And of course, white won't accept it, and therefore white will extend. Black ataris and white cuts over here. Black ataris, white extends, and here black can just block over here. So the result of this is that black is able to go into white's corner. White gain the compensation by capturing the two stones here. And then black does not have to play the hane here immediately because it's not a super big move, right? Black can look at somewhere else. So that would be a slightly better continuation for Dina from this point. In the actual game, Dina played the hane. It's looking at the atari over here. White now defends the corner. As we can see, white is very, very solid in this game, just trying to take the territory everywhere and rely on the fact that she's a professional player and she plays more solid. Black kicks, and now white doesn't even respond and just plays out the move over here. This move is pressuring the corner, and therefore Dina defends the cutting point right away. So if black doesn't defend here, let's say for example, then white has this combination to try to break into the corner. So Dina was worried about this and therefore plays the bump. White extends and black plays another move to protect the territory here. So at this point, as we can tell, Dina is a very solid player. You can see that I would say black didn't play any fancy move in this game, but what is amazing about Dina's play is it is rock solid. Even if black now is falling behind, but because of the small inaccuracies, right, such as well, here it's a little passive to just play the tiger's mouth. Rather, black could have blocked here and started a counterattack, but Dina played rock solid over here. And this move by Dina is also a little bit slow because you could have clamped into the corner and start a fight, but black didn't really do that. And finally, this kick is also a little bit slow, right? You could have played that a little later, even if it is an annoying move for white. But you could have wait for a little bit and start initiatives over here. For example, at this point, instead of kicking, maybe black can think about just attaching white, right? It's a very common technique. So at this point, white is really slowly gaining that advantage, but really black is not collapsing. Black is holding most of the territory and most of the groups are safe. So I think Dina is doing a great job at this point. So now we're into the middle game. Let's see how it plays out. White now takes the 2-space extension. This is such a gigantic move. Not only expands white, mitigate the weakness that white has over here, but also putting pressure on black. So after this move, you can see white is really taking the initiative in terms of territory, right? Because I'd say this move is not bad, but if black could somehow get this move, this is such a huge move in terms of territory. As you can see, right, with this move, black is able to gain so much, and pressure white. So I wonder if this move is necessarily better than, of course, this move also has values, but I guess if black doesn't play, it's not the end of the world. But I think that, yeah, this move by white is just absolutely huge. All right, let's see how Dina deals with this. So Dina jumps out, and as we can see, when white pincers like this with a lot of territory, and the only thing black does is to jump out, this exchange doesn't make... If I was playing black, I would feel very upset about this exchange. But of course, this move has value, right? Next up, we're looking at pushing here and enclosing the center. White now bumps into what black blocks, and white hanes, and here black decides to block on top. Alternatively, black can also extend. I think it's slightly better to extend down. Simply just making sure that black is very, very thick here, right? We have the potential to capture the 2 stones here, and this is just a big move in terms of territory. But Dina had a different idea, right? Dina pushes over here, looking at the corner weakness, and also trying to build the center. But then white takes the second line hane. Black clamps into the corner, trying to threaten white's corner. So at this point, I feel like Dina could be a little excited because when she plays this move, maybe she was feeling that white's corner is kind of in trouble. And actually, for any player, right, who's not professional, like my viewers, when you face this move, it's actually easy to just panic, and then maybe your corner gets killed. But here, Jiajia answered correctly by extending on the second line. This is a common Tsuji to deal with this clamp here in this particular shape, because we're looking at the cut over here, and then we're trying to extend. And once white gets to extend here, there's really no way for black to kill white. So in the actual game, black decides to Atari on top. This is mitigating the cutting point in a very efficient way because black is trying to push and take. White extends, protecting the corner. Black takes, and white connects. And now, as we can see, Dina was able to get the Panuki in Sente. And also, this cutting point is no longer there because when black pushes, these 2 stones are dead. Next up, we have Dina extending on the third line, white Ataris, and Dina decides to Tanuki. I really like Dina's feeling or her instinct of playing the Tanuki. Yeah, so if black connects, it would be a bad idea because then white can keep crawling into black's territory, and it's just not pleasant. So very good job by Dina Tanuking here. However, a better way of Tanuki is to put more pressure on white. So what Dina played in the actual game, a move like this doesn't really put any pressure on white, and that's a problem. It's a little slow. And as you can see, throughout this game, that Dina is a very rock solid player. There's really no obvious mistakes. So if you are, let's say, a 4-dan, 5-dan, or even 6-dan player, and you try to play Dina, you will feel like the game is very difficult because your opponent doesn't really make obvious mistakes. And if you make one, then that could be game over for you. The problem with this move is when you play against a professional, this move, the professional can easily take advantage of slow moves and try to build the lead. A better move here is for black to attach white on top. Of course, this is a lot harder to master, and maybe you go into a fight and professional is just stronger than you, right, in terms of reading, and then you'll lose the game. But I think this is how black should have played. If white extends, then black can play a very nice big Keima and try to put max pressure on white's territory and build black in the, making the most efficiency out of the center. Against this move, if black crawls, then we can simply extend. And then you can see that instead of jumping very loose, we're trying to maximize our efficiency. So that's a better way of playing for black. But of course, for an amateur 5-dan, it's very hard to see this type of idea. In the actual game, Dina plays here. The idea is to build a center. White now connects. This is absolutely huge. This not only creates the cutting, but also a hane and cut black. So it weakens black center. And black now plays the big Keima. So if there's really a move that I need to criticize for Dina is in this game is probably this move. The problem with this move is that it's kind of like a violation of a very important principle in Go, is that you don't use your influence to build territory. So there's a famous saying basically saying that you shouldn't use your influence like this, especially in this case, to just build territory like this. You should use it to attack. When you attack, your opponent has to run, and as they run, you can take this opportunity to gain profits using your influence. So at this point, black is obviously behind because white has just so much territory. Like this corner is just fine. There's a lot of territory going on here, and then there's territory going on here. So the correct move for black right now is to look for fights, because black invested so much into the influence. And if what black gets is like the center over here, even if black somehow managed to get 20 points, then it's not going to compete against white because white just has more territory. So the correct move here is probably for black to go into the corner and start a fight in here. And well, even if this is a very difficult, this is still a very difficult game for Dina, but at least this would give black some chances. Or probably invading here right away. This is a little bit overplay, but still it creates chaos. Now let's see what happened in the actual game. Dina plays the big Keima, and now white comes back and squeeze here. See, now this opportunity is gone. Because white squeeze here, black Ataris, white connects. This is not such a bad Atari because black needs a very urgent Sente. But for my viewers, I just want to say that the correct move usually is for black to simply connect, leaving the Aji in the corner. Because there's Aji in the corner, white doesn't control this corner completely, and to control it, white needs to play an extra move to protect the corner. So usually that's what black needs to play, but in this game, if black wants a very urgent Sente, then she can play this move and solidify white's corner. Next up, we have black Hane, white blocks, and I thought Dina was going to connect here, but actually she didn't. In the actual game, she just plays another move to build a center. So her idea has been very consistent, right? With this big Keima, she plays another move over here, right? We can see a giant center forming over here. So that's a very consistent idea, but the problem is it has been consistently wrong, right? You really shouldn't like invest all these moves to just build a center. But if you were at black's position, this was just very difficult because white is so solid. So even if black's trying to look for fights, there's really no chance for black to start a fight. And that's probably why Dina is in a position that is very awkward, that you kind of know you're violating the principle of Go, but you have to do it anyway. Maybe here, if black connects, that would have not been bad either, because you can look at a little bit of weakness that white has over here, and also you get some territory. Okay, so Dina decides to build center, and let's see how Jiajia deals with it, because if white doesn't deal with it properly, well, then this strategy might actually work for black. But let's see how a professional handles this. Next up, we have Jiajia coming in with this shoulders hit. And that is very difficult for black to deal with because you know there's no way to capture it. And the reason there's no way for black to capture is that white doesn't have much weaknesses on the outside. Black pushes on top, white jumps, and black plays the wedge. White Ataris, black connects, and now white plays the peep here. Very well played by Jiajia. This entire sequence is very, the flow of it is just very, very strong, right? We're trying to fix the weakness, and how do we do that? Instead of playing a tiger's mouth, right, then black's gonna peep, making our shape very heavy. Jiajia uses a peep, looking at black's weakness and fixing the cutting point at the same time. In the actual game, black squeeze white, really trying to enclose the center. Here, probably black should have just defended the side territory because this is quite a lot of territory as well. So, and there's no obvious way for white to break this whole thing in one shot. So, black should have connected here. Okay, let's see what happened. Black squeeze white, white connects, black extends, and white connects. And now Dina plays a beautiful Tsuji to enclose the center. This would be better than simply extending because that leaves an obvious weakness. White jumps in, and then we all know that, white will Atari on this side and then extend. And now this 4 guys in trouble. But when black plays the Keima, then there's no obvious way for white to break in. The best way is for white to attach and then cut. But then as we can see, these guys' position was definitely a lot better than previously, right? Because if white runs out, then we can Hane. So there's no way for white to break out. So the Keima is the shape move, and it's very well played by Dina. So as we can see, black was able to enclose quite a lot of territory, but at a big cost, right? So black invested a big Keima, another move over here, and just to get the territory over here. And white already gained a lot of moves. But more importantly, at this point, the sacrifice is that white obviously will push, forcing black to block. White cuts, black Ataris, white extends, and black has to block on the second line. And now we have white playing the turn here. This is a bit of a slow move by Jiajia because I think she knew that she was very ahead in this game at this point. Therefore, she played a turn. So I think most of my viewers would somehow have this feeling that this move is not very, it's not very efficient, right? It's an okay move, but it's not like the best that Jiajia can come up with. Here, probably white should just Atari extend or start some sort of fight. Yeah, so anyway, Jiajia realizes she's ahead and she wants to control the game in this way. Black jumps and white extends once again. And now black plays the bamboo shape to prevent the weakness. There's too much weakness going on here. White now cuts on the side, black Ataris, white extends, black extends, and now white captures 2 stones. So this capture is very big because if black managed to connect at some point, let's say, then the corner might have a Seki later on as well. So now white gets rid of that Seki possibility by capturing the 2 stones. That's a very big move. Next up, we have black playing a Keima, trying to break into white's territory. White now Hanes, black Hanes, and now white captured the stones over here. There's a lot of territory and also weakens the 2 stones here. Black jumps down, and now white captured the stone in a corner. After this, Dina comes back and fixes all the broken stones over here. White turns, black blocks. Yeah, this is a Sente, otherwise this is Atari and Hane, and therefore black needs to block. And now Jiajia is just playing the most obvious moves. White attaches, black extends. Here, I think if black blocks, Dina was probably worried about the Hane over here, right? So this is not easy to deal with. If black plays the flip Atari, then white can also flip Atari. If black takes, and this would be a disaster, right? These 2 stones are captured. So Dina decided to extend. So you can tell that Dina has quite strong reading abilities for locally. White Hanes, black blocks, and now white pushes. And now we can see these 2 stones are kind of in trouble. Black Ataris, white Ataris, and here Dina place the attach on top, because if black takes, then white will extend out, right? So this is just very dangerous for black, right? If you play this, then Dina is probably worried about something like just the entire thing dying here. So that's very painful for black though. In the actual game, Dina decides to attach, making sure that the 2 stones are safe, but then white gets the capture in Sente. That's very painful for black. Black extends, and now white Hanes, black blocks, and white extends. Black extends, white connects, and now black plays the tiger's mouth, connecting with the big group. And I think here the reading is that if white keeps pushing, then black extends. If white pushes again, I think Dina had this planned. I'm trying to just think about what Dina has planned in her head and then play here. So we can see there's an eye over here. And then, of course, black gets this push. Black has another eye. So if white turns, then definitely black can search for another eye under here. And therefore, in the actual game, Jiajia decided to not calculate the stuff locally. Jiajia just wanted a very secure win, and therefore she starts with the endgame. And at this point, white is just very ahead. Black extends, and white crawls. Black Hanes, white cuts, and black Ataris on top. White Ataris, black takes. And here, white simply just take the endgame. This is very solid stuff. Black plays the Kosumi, making sure because if white gets here, then it's a lot of territory. So, but I'm not really sure if this Kosumi is bigger than what white played later on here, because I feel like this Kosumi is also very huge. Now maybe here black should really try something because black is behind, and I'm pretty sure in the game Dina knows that. And so instead of just waiting for the loss, maybe black should have gone for something like this, right? At least if white Hanes, black can try to crosscut. Maybe this doesn't work, right? Because white Ataris and play this. I'm not sure if this works, but at least this is chaotic. So, nope, Dina decided to not question Jiajia's reading ability because she's a professional, and therefore she plays the move over here. And Jiajia finally comes back with this Kosumi, and at this point, white doesn't really have any weakness on the board, and white is just ahead. Okay, so black blocks, and white connects. Black blocks over here, and white peeps. Black connects, and white Ataris, and this ends up to be the last move in the game. Probably Dina made a rough counting of the territory, and then she realized that she's behind, and therefore she resigned at this point. So throughout this game, I can see that Dina is definitely a very strong player. Especially if she was playing against the amateur level player, this would have been very difficult for her opponent because she doesn't make any obvious mistake. I haven't seen a single tactical blunder or mistake that just lost her the game. Really, Jiajia was able to just build the win from the small inaccuracies that Dina made. And of course, I explained a very directional mistake over here. That is to play the big Keima in the center. It was like a directional mistake, right? We have this saying that when you have thick groups, you really should use them to attack, right? Even if we're not good at attacking, we should still follow the principle of Go, right? And we should, if you want to become good at attacking, well, obviously do some exercises and improve your skills. But the direction of play was very important. But other than that, I really don't see any issues with Dina's play. A very well played early game, and also a pretty solid middle game. And then we didn't get to see the end game because Dina realizes that she's behind and she doesn't want to go into that end game. So so overall, this is a very high quality game by Dina. I'm pretty impressed, and I hope you guys enjoy this game.
玩出了土家人的金银在9连环，变出了土家人。